したい人で読み直している、で読み直しているだけがで読み直している、で読み直している、で読み直している、で読み直している、で読み直している、エキスしたい人で読み直している、で読み直しているだけがで読み直している。
Hey humans, it's me, it's Ash. Who else would it be on my channel? Oh, gosh. Okay, 1 second. Just give me one hot second. I have to fix something. Ugh, of course I do. 1 second, I forgot to turn something off. Let me just fix it. Be right back. Okay, alright, sorry about that. People, if anybody's actually there. Hey, oh boy. Sorry, yeah, I had to go turn some stuff off. You know how it goes. You know, you don't want things making random noises during your stream, like doggies. No, it's all good. We like doggies here. Okay. Ugh. I'm just gonna do a quick audio check to make sure I'm audible. So, I'm just gonna listen to my voice for a second. And, okay, cool. Okay, apparently I'm plenty audible, so that's good. Alright, cool. So that means we can talk about, le things. Yeah. Cool. Oh man, okay. Sorry for the drinking noises. Just, I'm thirsty. LaCroix, you know how it goes. So I wanted to talk about Mother's Day because it's hmm, it's a lot. Excuse me, just wiping my face off here. Yeah, it's a lot. Mother's Day is usually a lot for me. I don't know if it's a lot for everybody else. It's a lot for me for a lot of reasons. I lost my mother. I lost my mother back in. Wait. Yeah, this is always really hard to talk. I don't know why this is so hard to talk about. I could talk about it just fine in the documentary for some reason, but it's really hard to talk about with, like, I guess a smaller group of people right now. So basically, yeah, I lost my mother back in 2004. It was between the summer of the summer between my junior year and my senior year in high school, and it was rough. Um, yeah, yeah, that time, that was a crazy time of my life. Um, I don't think I had a lot of really dependable support back when this happened. I was in a relationship at the time. Sorry about the doggies; they must hear like a raccoon or something. Um, but yeah, I was in a relationship at the time. Um, he wasn't super supportive. He didn't actually want to come to the funeral with me. Um, he said he was busy that day doing something. Painting, I think it was painting the fence with his mom, if I remember correctly. After that, I broke up with him, partly because of that, but other reasons too. So there was no support there. There was no support really from my own family because they were all being really, culty about it, and my siblings were too young to really be of any support to me. I was more of a support to them. Uh, so yeah, Thursday is not super fun for me. It reminds me of my mother that like, I always kind of envisioned myself as an adult, being the kind of kid that like brought her flowers and stuff. Um, just stuff like that, just to show appreciation. I thought that was going to be me. That's the kind of person my mom was. Um, she used to bring my grandmother flowers all the time when she would visit, just because. So I thought that would be me. I thought that's what I would be doing on a day like this, and I am not. By the way, happy Mother's Day to uh, everyone to whom it pertains. Seriously, like, being in the role of mother, no matter what gender you were assigned at birth, no matter how you identify, it's rough. I can speak from experience. Pre-transition and post-transition, it's been interesting being a parent. Hello, Michelle. And hello, Great Dane. Yeah, if you think I forgot about you or that somebody forgot about you in general on Mother's Day, you're wrong, because I didn't. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. Yeah. I have actually had some interesting conversations recently related to, being a mother and stuff like that with my daughter. My daughter actually told me recently that she was talking to some classmates of hers, and that they were asking her about her mother, and she said she didn't have a mother, that she didn't have a mother, right? So like, and that makes sense. Like, I feel like she's saying what she thinks would be in line with how I would feel, right? Which is fine. But I don't want her to feel like she doesn't have a mother. But then my brain is like, oh, that's internalized homophobia, because people don't, people don't need to be raised with a female parent. That's something that I think we need to normalize. Is that people do not need to be raised with both genders of parent, or all genders of parent, or any gender of parent specifically, or whatever, any combo specifically. I think people just need loving and supportive parents. And that's what I'm trying to be for my kids. In fact, I have a story to share about this past week here, this past couple of weeks, really, because it's a 2-week story. Hey, what's up, Adrian? Long time no see. And thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, so so a couple weeks ago, my every Friday I take my kid lunch. My younger kid. I think my older one would probably not like that if I did it with Krampus style. But yeah, I take my younger one lunch, and This time, I went there, we had lunch and everything. It was great. She was enjoying herself, and then usually her teacher will let her take, if she has leftover bits of her lunch, she'll let her take her little leftover bits back to class to either put in her backpack or finish while they're working or whatever. Um, it's never been a problem before. But this dude, like, freaking yelled. Oh, hey, Jules. Yeah, this dude yelled at my daughter. This dude came flying out of nowhere, yelled at my daughter when she was sitting on the stage getting ready to go back to class, because she had a couple of food items in her hand, and told her, why are you sitting there? You know better than that. You're supposed to not be there. Blah blah blah. Go back up there and finish, and all this stuff. And he did this like right in front of me too, which was just, ooh, wow. It just made me think, like, if he's doing that in front of me, like, what is he doing when I'm not there? Sorry, just to preface this before anybody is even a little bit surprised, and I hope you're not surprised by this. If you know me, you shouldn't be surprised by this. It really pisses me off when people yell at little children. I don't like that. That would have absolutely freaked me out as a kid, I know that for sure. And it freaked my kid out. She came running back to me, crying, and buried her little head in my arms. She was afraid of that dude. And I gave him, I gave him a little look, and I told her reassuringly that I was gonna make sure that I had a talk with him. And that seemed to make her feel better, which is good, because I want my kid to know that I have her back. Same with my son. I want my children to know that I'm there, and that they can count on me to go and speak up for them, because that absolutely would have been the opposite as a child for me. In my mother's case, I feel like she probably would have spoken up for me. It depends on the situation, but like, even she was kind of prone to the whole, well, what did you do to piss the teacher off kind of mentality. But that's not me. I tend to be more suspicious of the adult in this situation, given my experiences and all that. Yeah, so I did end up having a talk with him. He was really combative. I've worked in childcare before, just so we're all clear on this, and I know it can be stressful and stuff, and I did talk to him about that. And he was like, well, I wasn't overwhelmed or stressed out. And I was like, well, then it was the reason to take the tone with the child, Because it wasn't about the volume, it was about the tone. The tone was intimidating. The tone was needlessly terrifying for a 9-year-old child. So yeah, and he strangely asked me if, like, my kid had basically told on him and asked me to say something to him, and I was like, no, but she cried. That's usually more than enough for most parents to say something. But yeah, the reason I'm talking about this is because even though I don't technically identify as a mother anymore, I want to be a cycle breaker as a parent. That's what I'm trying to do. What kind of an activist would I be if I talked about how important it was to protect children and didn't even stand up for my own kids? So that's what I'm trying to do. And, honestly, I hope everybody else is too. I hope you're all being cycle breakers. Mother, father, everything in between and outside of that. It's really important. And if you're an Ex-JW, honestly, you're a cycle breaker already, because you're choosing not to participate in that cult. Alrighty. So yeah, I did end up talking to the front office about that dude. I also talked to the VP about that dude this week, and yeah, they're gonna do something about him. So hopefully he starts behaving better, or I can take it to the local news, whichever everybody would prefer. because I don't mess around when it comes to people being mean to children, for lack of a nicer way to phrase it, I guess. Anyway, I wanted to read something that my mother wrote about me in the newspaper a long time ago. I'm going to use my old pronouns just because I'm old, and if I try to read it in my current pronouns, I might screw it up because I'm looking directly at the wrong ones. So I'm just gonna read it in my old pronouns. But she won an award for this and was allowed to have this published in the newspaper when she was in high school. And she went to one of those high schools that was for kids that got pregnant or did something else that was bad. Anyway, it says, when I was 15 years old, I dropped out of school. The reason being that I found myself in every teenager's nightmare. I was with child. I had so many mixed feelings about having the baby at that time. I wanted to conquer the world, and having a baby meant that I would have to give up my dreams and goals that I had been thriving on. I decided to deal with it. I had a darling little girl. She is the sugar in my life. Though I must admit that it is very hard being a mother at my age, I'm doing the best that I can. I went back to school when I was 18. Challenge High School is unique. It has a program where I can put my child in daycare for next to nothing and attend school from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I felt the need to go back to school because my brain in reality was aching for knowledge. I needed to learn more about this world. I wanted to accomplish the goals I had set for myself when I was younger. Sorry, here we go. Challenge High School is the door to my future. Granted, I may only receive my GED, but that is what is going to get me into college. I strongly feel that education is the key to all doors. When I first found out that I was pregnant, I thought that it was the end of the world, but it's not. Don't get me wrong. I don't encourage promiscuity. Boy. Especially among teenagers. Because I am living the life of a teenage mother. And no matter what, I will always be labeled as such. That's so sad. That she sees that as like something bad. I mean, obviously not that it's the greatest set of circumstances, but it's not something that's like something to be ashamed of. But it just shows the mentality. She goes on to say, today's world is wise to all sorts of contraceptives. Contraceptives that protect you against unwanted pregnancies and diseases. There are places you can go to obtain birth control. For instance, we have... Oops. Sorry. Apparently it's dinner time for Chester. And if you can hear that, that's the recording that goes off every time that it's dinner time for Chester. Well, not dinner time, but mealtime. And it's kind of... it's a little cursed. Sorry, Chester. Sorry, y'all. Oh, there he goes. Okay, sorry. Right, so, for instance, we have Planned Parenthood of San Antonio, Community Guidance Center, and the Helpline. And she gives the number. And so many more. She goes on to say... Oops. Oh, crud. She goes on to say, in this... Oh, crud. Why am I so bad? Ow. In this day and age, we have 3 options. There we go. avoid pregnancy by using birth control, or practicing celibacy, or have the baby or the A word, abortion. It's your choice. But if you're a teenager, think about the consequences. You have your whole life ahead of you. Be responsible if you're going to be promiscuous. I ignored birth control, and now I deeply regret it. I love my child, but I know that I should have informed myself about contraceptives. Sorry, I'm just, hey Dave. Trying not to get teary-eyed here. So, as you could hear from the, as you can hear from the article, my mother clearly loved me, but she had aspirations for her life. And also, interestingly, she seemed to be pro-choice. Now, she did have to kind of throw in that thing about promiscuity a couple of times. It seemed to be that she wanted to say that just probably because of the indoctrination, that she had ingrained in her about that kind of thing, and she obviously had feelings about that, but she still put it out there that she says it's your choice, which is kind of interesting for a Jehovah's Witness. It kind of just stuff like that always makes me think that my mother would have woken up if she wasn't already without me realizing it. It's just a horrible, horrible waste of life. And I've had people tell me that my mother wouldn't be proud of me for what I do, what I've done. And these are people that knew her, people in our family. I disagree. I think my mother would be very proud of me. If you believe what she said in the article, you believe that my mother valued education. She thought it was important. She thought it was important for people to have goals. I definitely got my value of wanting to learn about things, wanting to educate myself from my mother. My dad never went to school. My dad never had any really big desire to go to school. He's just always kind of done the job that he has. I won't mention what it is, but yeah, straight out of high school, he just did that. No school. Before my mom died, she was about to become a systems analyst. She was about to be done with school for that. She didn't quite finish her final semester, so she never quite got to fully realize that goal of hers. But she was so close. So close. And I'm really sad for her. My mother was only 32 years old when she passed away. I'm about to turn 35 on Wednesday. It still blows my mind that I'm older than my mother. It just doesn't seem right. Yeah. Sorry, I just she was actually only 15 years old when she became a mother. That's when she had me. She was married when she was 14 to my father, who was in his 20s at the time, which is wrong. So yeah, I mean, if you know my mother's story, you know, the whole fact that she died from the blood doctrine at 32, that she was abused, she was a victim of CSA, and physical abuse and emotional abuse, of course. She grew up in poverty. She was a model witness too. She was baptized at age 12. Yeah, she was the golden child in my family unit for sure. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I mean. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google golden child psychology, and it'll teach you a lot of interesting stuff you might not have realized was happening in your own family. But yeah, my mom was the golden child. Despite the fact that she, ended up getting divorced from my dad, like, very shortly after, you know, I think it was shortly after I was born, even. Yeah. My dad didn't even meet me or see me for the first time until it was at a meeting. And then I lived, like, some of my first few months, I guess, in his parents' house, from what I understand. It's really weird not knowing a lot of your own origin story, but I really don't know a lot of my own origin story. Gosh. My mother told me a story, and my dad told me this story too, so I know it's true, of how when she was just barely married to my dad, I didn't exist yet. She was just barely married to my dad and living with him, and she wanted to go back so badly to my grandmother's house. She wanted to be a kid again. She said she was a kid. I'm a kid. I'm still a kid. I want my stuffed animals. She wanted her room again. She just wanted to go back. My grandmother took her right back to my dad's house and left her there with her suitcases in front of his house or apartment. I think it was an apartment. And told her that she was married now and that she needs to act like it, pretty much. But yeah. So my mother went through everything you can go through in the cult. The CSA, the being a child bride, the shunning, and of course the blood doctrine stuff. Everybody loved my mother. My mother was my grandmother's favorite child. She would always say that. And still, somehow she managed to allow her daughter to die for nothing. For nothing. And it sucks. It sucks. It's really confusing for me because I love my grandmother because she's the woman who raised me for the majority of my life, despite definitely being abusive at times. But yeah, like, I feel like if I ever somehow managed to get her to wake up, I don't know that she would be able to handle it. Because then she would have to accept the fact that she had a hand in her daughter's death. That she more or less sacrificed her favorite child. On November 5th, I think it was in 2017, years ago, we were all doing protests around the country. There was a protest in Warwick, which I'm sure a lot of you know about. That one was on TV and stuff. But a lot of us were doing protests everywhere else in the country simultaneously that day with it. And my friends and I were we did multiple Kingdom Halls that day. The first one, they were giving a talk about Abraham and Isaac, and it was across the street from my mother's funeral home. That was one of the couple of times I've gotten up on stage. That wasn't the original plan for that crash. We were all going to wait and all talk after the meeting and stuff. That was the plan. We were all going to talk to people individually. But I couldn't help it. I had to get up and say something on stage because it was killing me. People like to tell me, or just say on Reddit or wherever all the time, that it's okay that I crash Kingdom Halls if it's just to make myself feel better, more or less. That's like the reasoning, is they'll excuse it if it's for me, to empower myself. And these are the same people who will tell me that it's not going to work to wake people up, and that it's traumatizing to children. So that means, I guess, it's okay to traumatize children as long as it's for the purpose of helping myself. This doesn't make any sense. I have to say, though, I highly doubt I'm traumatizing the children in the Kingdom Halls any more than Watchtower is. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, circling back toward the beginning of this conversation, when I said that my daughter was asking me about, or talking to me about how she tells people that she doesn't have a mother. I thought about that today. I was like, I mean, my kid is very, like, I guess we'll say modern and accepting. My kid knows nothing of the homophobia and transphobia of days past. My son might, but my daughter, no. So my daughter, I can tell that she doesn't think anything of it. Plus, I've talked to her, and she thinks nothing of it. That she doesn't have a mom, so to speak, right? But I still feel, these little tiny twinges of guilt in the background. Like, am I depriving her of some sort of experience or insight? And the answer is no, I'm not. Now, I don't fully identify with. Actually, I don't identify at all with anything quote unquote female. I don't consider myself to be that in any capacity. However, I have a lot of experience living in that role. So yeah, I think I can provide a lot of experience and insight to my child if needed. But also, like, I don't know. I just feel like people who are assigned male at birth should step up to the plate too, and be able to be educated enough to raise assigned female at birth children, especially those identifying as female. I mean, I was watching Blossom earlier, and Blossom's dad could freaking raise a chick. Like, what's the big chick? Oh my god, that's like the worst. Oh, you can tell I was raised in the 90s. Sorry. And also, sorry if you can hear the doggies. Those are the landlord's doggies, and they are very excitable doggies. They love to say hi to the coyotes and the deer and all the other neighborhood doggies and kitties that come out at night. Let's see here. A waste of valuable life. Yes, that's absolutely right, Jane. Dave says, the various activism protests fascinated the children at the halls, if anything, and based on the videos I observed, woke them up from sleep and monotony. Yeah, usually the children you can see in my crash videos, usually they're actually looking and paying attention. And also, some of them are trying to discreetly hide the fact that they are paying attention. But yeah, usually they're listening. You are trying to save the children. The Watchtower has them imprisoned. I personally appreciate your activism. Thank you. You know, I know it doesn't seem like it would mean a lot, but it really does mean a lot to hear that from people when I do hear it from people, because I hear so much opposition, and you know, the people that I hear opposition from, I don't think they mean anything negative by it. I really don't. I think they want to take down the cult as much as I do, or maybe in their case reform it, whatever. But they want some kind of a change, just like I do. They want people to be safe, just like I do. It's just that I think they're maybe a little bit short-sighted about the fact that different methods reach different people. I don't think that Kingdom Hall crashing reaches everybody. I don't even think that it reaches like the vast majority of people. But if it reaches one person, if it shakes them awake, if it even makes somebody question, like, how could Jehovah let somebody like that into the Kingdom Hall? It's worth it. And that's usually how it works. It's usually a planting the seed kind of situation. It's usually a slow burn, not something that's overnight. Although I have heard some instances where it was overnight, so that was interesting. But I suspect those people were probably already having doubts. Maybe just hadn't admitted it to themselves yet. But yeah. Oh man. I really, really, really miss my mother, and I feel like she would be one hell of an activist if she were around today. She was really smart. She was very well spoken. Actually, I'm pretty sure my mother was responsible for bringing in a lot of JWs. Bringing a lot of people into the cult. Yeah. But yeah, my mother made a lot of placements. My mother was like super popular in the hall, popular at school. Like literally the opposite. Well, I don't know. I mean, okay, so like I wasn't like the traditionally popular person in school. I was more like the I know everybody and am friends with everybody person, but not like popular like in the conventional way, if that makes any sense. But yeah, like I was friends with every friend group. Like everybody knew me, I knew them. But my mother was actually popular. Like people really, really loved her. I can't stress enough how well loved my mother was. The reason I keep stressing that is because it makes it just that much more painful that her life was cut off so soon. No matter my mother's flaws, which were many, she was a good person. Underneath it all, she was a good person. All she really wanted was the best for people and for things to be beautiful. And as far as how she would have felt about me being trans and gay and all this other stuff, like she would have been supportive, I think. I was digging through my mother's purse around the time that the Crusaders documentary dropped finally, because I have her purse on my shelf. And I noticed that she had a voter ID in her wallet. And that just confirmed to me that my memory was correct. I wasn't imagining it. My mother was not a practicing Jehovah's Witness when she died. She really was 100% through and through killed for no reason. My mother was voting. I didn't know that until last year. I didn't know she was voting. I just knew that she hadn't set foot in a Kingdom Hall in years, and had not been even studying, nothing like that. So, yeah, last year I just found out that my mom had a voter registration card in her wallet, and that she was she was voting. I love her so much, and I miss her, and it hurts me so much that I have to go through life without my mother. This is not how I imagined things. I always thought I could call her up and ask her for a recipe or advice. We weren't super duper duper close when she was alive, but we were close enough to where it really hurts. And I think we would have been a lot closer now that I'm an adult. I think we would have been a lot closer in my adult years. My children don't have their grandmother. I don't have one half of my soul. And if I'm being totally honest, the only half I would really care to know anyway. My father is not the greatest. And, just the fact that he would marry a 14-year-old when he's in his 20s is plenty for me to not really be super interested in getting to know him much. And I don't want to hear any crap about it was a different time. No. Anyway, yeah, my mother did not deserve what happened to her. And I just hope that I can be the kind of parent that my children are grateful for. And that's it. That's all I want. Nothing more, nothing less. I just want to be a good parent. Whatever that turns out to mean, with the changing times and all that shit. I want to be that. I don't want to be a stubborn, stuck in the mud, close-minded asshole. And I don't think my mother would have been that. I honestly know, actually, I know that's where I get that from, because my dad is close-minded. My dad does not agree with the fact that I'm trans. We had a discussion about that in person when I talked to him about it years ago. He told me he did not accept my lifestyle choices because it wasn't in accordance with the Bible. He's not a Jehovah's Witness anymore. He's like a non-denominational Christian. But yeah, he was like, I don't agree with your lifestyle, but, I'm not going to disown you. Meanwhile, I tried to, add him on social media after that, after we met up. Didn't add me back, wouldn't add me back, and I tried to text him about it, and he didn't answer me about it. He answers me about other stuff, but he literally, we just don't talk about that, I guess. So, I guess he's too ashamed to have me on his social media. Back when he used to have me on his social media before I transitioned, I actually deleted him because he pretty much acted like I didn't exist. And I guess I shouldn't have been surprised that that's what happened after I transitioned and came out and all that stuff. Anyway, so my birthday is on Wednesday. I'm going to be turning 35. I will be doing a stream on Wednesday. It will be during the day. I don't know exactly what time yet. I will keep you updated on Twitter and on here and any other places I can. I'll throw out updates. But I am planning on streaming on my birthday. We're going to read, me and possibly some friends, I think. We're going to read The Watchtower, probably just selections from it, not the whole thing, from the month and year that I was born. So May 1987, in case you want to study ahead. I'm just kidding. Don't study ahead. Please don't torture yourself. But yeah, I want to find out what the hell is going on in the world, in JW land specifically, when I was born. Like, what was going through my mother's head? What kind of mentality did she have when she was getting ready to shoot me out of the old womb hole? That sounds terrible. I'm sorry. I couldn't think of a better way to say this. Oh Lord. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to join me on Wednesday, and if not, that's cool. You can catch the replay of the stream. And, throw me a happy birthday message there. That's cool if you want to. If you don't believe in birthdays, you're probably a Jehovah's Witness. Why are you watching my channel? I'm just messing with you. Oh, thank you, Jane. I appreciate that. Yes, we do not talk about pronoun. Just being there for them unconditionally is the biggest thing. You're a great parent, Ash. I'm trying. I'm doing my very best. Josh says, your mother was indoctrinated. I am sure that she would be proud of you now. It sounds like she was waking up from the cult. I'm sorry, Ash. Losing the ones we love is incredibly hard. My sympathies. Yeah, so fun fact, when my mother, my stepdad moved us because he was in the Air Force. He put in for transfer from here in Texas to Florida. And we did move over there when I was 12. And she was celebrating Christmas and stuff. Like, she was doing all the holidays and shit while we were living in Florida, even though we were also going to meetings at certain points. It was really weird. But after a certain point, there were definitely no meetings or studies or anything. So, but yeah. So the waking up, I don't know. I literally don't know. All I know is my mother was definitely not 100% in. She couldn't have been, right? Mentally, I don't know. Happy 35th, Ash. Taurus time for us. Ah, yes. I remember, Dave. I know you have a birthday close to mine. I remember that was one of the first messages you sent a long time ago. Is you were talking about that. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you around. And also on, I think, I'm thinking next, not this Friday, but the following Friday, there should be a video out about Lloyd. Yes, I know, the L word. I know, everybody's favorite. And, I know everybody's already talked about it and everything, but there's a lot of stuff I wanted to expand on regarding what was in Cameron's video, plus just other stuff that I didn't say at all. So that'll be coming out next week. Not this week, but next week. This week is for Mother's Day and for my birthday and for Cameron's video. So yeah, no matter what your gender identity, no matter what you believe, no matter who you are, and whether the children are biological or not, if you are a parent in the child's life and you have in some capacity fulfilled the role of what would traditionally be called a mother, I salute you. Thank you. You do a hell of an important job, and there's nobody like you. Please, just keep being awesome. And know that there are people out there who truly appreciate what you do. Alright, folks. That's going to be it for me tonight, and hopefully I'll catch some of you on Wednesday. And if not, hopefully I'll catch some of you the week after that. Alright. Take it easy, and guess take care of yourselves and each other.